Welcome back to the New Horizon podcast. It is I, Michael Angelo Rangel, and thanks for subscribing and supporting to my daddy's YouTube channel. So let's dive right in.
Whoa, man, that was weird. For some reason, I felt like I was a little kid again. Joking. Thank you. Thank you so much for supporting my vision, my dream, and my goal. Thank you for being here. And as an appreciation segment, I would love to just show you a snippet of the last 12 episodes. So here it is. When he sends me this text, to me is just, wow.
Yeah.
We have this perception of titles that are tied into a stage or an altar or a platform or a spotlight. And man, for those of you seeking that, dude, you got to change.
Yeah.
Because you have to remember that this mission that we're doing, this gospel that we're spreading, is not Orlette's gospel. Ouch. I that just came from the Lord there. It's not Miguel's gospel. It's not my mission. It's not your mission. It is God's mission. So while you're there thinking that you deserve a spotlight, let me remind you, God will humble you. And you need to change that mentality. And you need to realize that the real battles are fought in secret.
I told him if this is it, I told him I'm sorry. But I said, but if you can spare my life, I will live my life for you. I will not live a double life anymore.
So in that moment of you, and I'm gonna retract here a little bit.
Yeah.
In that moment of you seeing the shots coming towards you,
Yeah.
seeing did you think that was the end?
Yes.
So there was no doubt that you were gonna die.
Yes. There was yes. Honestly, right there in that moment, in my mind, I said, I'm about to get shot.
Mm.
This is the end of the road for me.
How many people through our pain still can we bless? How many people still can be encouraged through our story? How many people can want to come to God? The stage production had people wanting to give their life to God because of what they saw.
Wow.
And they saw our perseverance and how we made it through and how we're still persevering and going through and loving God.
So if I can add this on there, this was very encouraging. Sometimes during our pain, we can become very selfish. And one of the things that you shared was, you were thinking, nobody understands me. I feel isolated and I feel alone. But now, one of the things that I see, the change in speech in your language now, is you're saying, how can I help someone in the midst of my pain? For those listeners that are listening to us, have you asked yourself this? Can we put our selfish thoughts to the side just a little bit? Can we put our depression to the side just a little bit and say, who can I help?
As much as you want it, your father, your physical father, your spiritual mother, or whoever it may be in your life, whoever's hearing this podcast, you cannot depend on them so much to where your salvation is dependent on them.
Oof.
Your salvation comes from God only, right? And a lot of times we have to navigate through life ourselves, but the solution is actually having a relationship with your Father, having communion, right?
Yeah.
And it was a difference. I would visit the Lord, or He would visit me, but I wouldn't host God. I wouldn't be a host to Him.
Come on.
Just like you're being a host to us guys right here this night, you're being a great host. We're having communion,
Wow.
and that's something that God wanted to happen in my life.
Man, but if you look at God, bro, selfless, the most selfless act that any being of any stature, of any status can make, man, He laid down His entire life.
Come on.
An all-powerful God, an all-powerful being came and lived like us, right? Succumbed Himself, right? Put Himself through the same things that we go through, right? When He didn't have to.
Bro, John 3:16.
John 3:16.
For
bro.
God so loved.
Loved. That's where the power comes from.
Come on.
That's what it's about. He loved us that much. He showed us how to do it. Be selfless.
That's manipulation of funds or asking somebody for help,
Yeah.
right? And then they come through for you,
Yeah.
right? Faith is where you truly have no outcome, right? You have no idea where it's going to come from.
Yeah.
And you are depending on what you can't even imagine
Yep.
or see,
Yep.
right? And we could not see no way out of this.
Yes.
It's like, God, what is going on right now, right? And we had to lean into truly depending on God every step of the way.
Yeah.
Not for tomorrow, not for next week or the future. We had to depend on God for this day,
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. And I'm sitting there wondering, how could I, being a Christian, in my last moments, instead of seeing God, I'm seeing a demon. And the only thing going through my mind is, man, I wasn't ready. Maybe I needed to fix something else in my life. But whatever I didn't do created this. So now I'm not even ready to make it to heaven.
That they were gonna have a youth camp. A juniors camp, and I was not old enough to go. And I remember me telling the juniors teacher at the time, I really need to go. Please, please just do whatever you need to do, but I really need to go to this. And I remember my decision was, if God helps me through this, I will never turn back. And he made a way.
The pastor had everybody turn around and they just start praying in their pews, right? There's kneeling in the pews and just praying and all this. And I'm just looking at all this, and later my brother after service said, "Oh, it's not usually like that, and it's usually this, that, and the other thing. I'm sorry, you need to come on." And I looked at him. I said, "What do you mean? I loved it." And it was a prayer meeting, and he's like, he couldn't see. This is what Christians do, isn't it? They try to dictate what God's going to do, and so I've heard people say, "Oh, I hope it's not this kind of a move of God today when I bring my visitor," because you don't know what God's doing.
Yeah.
I went weeks when I didn't have my daughter. When she was with me, I didn't. But I went weeks where the blinds would be closed and the lights were off in my house. And a guy I went to high school with found out what happened and drove all the way over to my house, who doesn't live around here anymore, and knocked on my door and said, "Are you okay?"
Yeah.
And when he can do that for people,
Yeah.
that's how you know
Yeah.
that God's real.
Yeah.
I'm sick and tired of people throwing people away. Because God didn't throw me away. And he sure should have.
Verse 23 about, the offering your gift.
Yeah.
And from there, it went into my testimony. And I was telling people, forgive me if I hurt you. Church, forgive me if I ever said anything that I hurt you. Everything was coming out. And of course, I was just tears coming down. I couldn't control what this Holy Spirit was doing in me.
Yeah.
Number one, love is an action before it becomes a feeling. And I say that because when you first meet the person, you don't love that person. It is the action of what that person begins to do for you that begin to grow a feeling of love. And after those actions comes the feeling of love. I say that because there are many times where we think that life is over because love is over, or we don't feel it anymore. My advice to you there is to, one of the things that we do is, or that we've done is, if you don't feel it, do the action love. Start again and do the action love and make those feelings come back again. Believe it or not, those small snippets of all the testimonies that you heard have truly impacted my life in a way that you have no idea. Whether it's physical or spiritual, my life has truly changed through the segments that we've done over and over and over and over. Consistency has been really hard, especially when you have people that have been on the podcast for the very first time. It's truly never nerve wracking for everyone, and I completely understand. But I also want to thank you. Thank you for being brave. Thank you for being bold. Thank you for being vulnerable and showing us who you are. Thank you for being part of this podcast. So, with that being said, here are the good news. I have 2 ideas that I want to do. These 2 ideas are simple, but I think many people are looking forward to this. Number 1, the first idea that I thought about was having a Testimony Tuesday en español. Porque tengo mucha gente que está tan ansiada por escuchar estos testimonios en español. Mi gente, mi raza, ¿están dispuestos para empezar algo? Not only will this Testimony Tuesday remain its name, porque en español serían Martes Milagrosos. Love the name, and it's catchy. So, if you think that we should have this Testimony Tuesday en español, we're going to leave a poll. We're gonna create a poll, and we're going to be waiting for your votes. Majority wins. Español? No español. Either way, Testimony Tuesday lives on. And number 2, if we don't do Testimony Tuesday en español, we are going to be doing a new segment every other Thursdays called Topic Thursdays. That's right, Topic Thursdays. We're going to dive deep into specific subjects, whether it's the gospel, whether it's faith, whether it's love, whether it's just the life of Jesus, whether it's something controversial of something in today's time, whether it's the end of times. There's going to be many topics spoken to during Topic Thursdays. Again, these are ideas that we've had in our hearts, and now we want you to help us choose which way to lead. So in that poll that we're going to be creating, we're going to have Testimony Tuesday en español, Topic Thursday, or continue with Testimony Tuesday en inglés. Now, I know many of you are going to want both. Heck, if we have top 2 out of all 3, that doesn't mean we're going to discard the other. All it means is we're going to start working in a way that we're going to be able to reach each and every single one of those segments. So, here's a chance for you to help us and lead us, guide us, whatever it is that you guys are thinking that you guys can do with this. But thank you. With that being said, guys, I truly love you guys for supporting, for watching, for staying here throughout this whole time. God bless you.